Perspective, we turn to John Hanna, senior counselor at the Foundation for Defense of Democracies, former national security advisor to Vice President Dick Cheney. The first thing that struck me when I heard about this raid was it sounds an awful lot like boots on the ground, something the president said wasn't going to happen.
Yeah, it does, Leland. It looks like a shift in the U.S. approach. So far, we know special forces are in Iraq. Special forces have been training Iraqis. They've been calling in some airstrikes. But to have them in this kind of highly risky combat role, I think the only other place we've seen it inside of Syria is when there's an attempt to free a U.S. hostage.
The attempted rescue of James Foley, very different than doing some kind of snatch and grab operation. The other question I had was, thank God everything went well here. All the Americans returned safely. You could have ended up in a situation with dead U.S. Special Forces, tragic, or U.S. Special Forces captured and in the hands of ISIS, something that conceivably would have been a game changer. What is the decision that had to go on inside the White House to risk this much?
Either this individual is of incredible intelligence value, or he's
not much intelligence value now. He's dead.
He's dead now, but we don't know what was in that house in terms of electronics, computers, telephones.
So that's the decision not to go use a drone.
I think it's what you can get on the ground in terms of intelligence, unless they thought there was going to be another higher value target there with him and he just wasn't there, or else a hostage.
So something like al-Baghdadi they thought was going to be there, the leader of ISIS, he didn't show up. Interesting. As you look back on it, was it worth it? You have his wife, but that doesn't really seem like she probably was the one who held the family checkbook.
Listen, at this point, I just don't think you can say. I don't think the wife is going to be high value. Women have not traditionally played important leadership roles in these organizations.
They don't really wear the pants in the relationship.
The question is, what do they get? Are there things on his computers, on his phones that begin to let you really unravel the leadership network and begin to go after these guys? And let's face it, this is a statement as well. The U.S. for the first time going in on the ground, killing a high-value leader. The rest of the leadership now has even got to be more wary than they were before.
Let's continue on the idea of this statement that this is making. Does this signal, you think, a real shift in U.S. policy, or was this something that perhaps they were just waiting for the right intelligence to act on?
My guess is it's the latter, that this is not a major shift. We'll have to see. It would be an important shift, not only to go in on the ground and have more combat operations by U.S. forces, but this idea of even going in and getting detainees. Traditionally, we've had drone strikes. We've killed these guys. The Obama administration hasn't actually wanted to take the risk of going in, snatching guys, bringing them back, and interrogating in some detention facility. We'll see what happens.
And we know the wife is in Iraq. What do you do with somebody like this in terms of if you had grabbed him? Do you turn him over to the Iraqis? Do you try to hold him? We know that the president doesn't want to send him to Gitmo.
Yeah, my guess is that they're going to hold them on the ground in the region. U.S. forces and interrogators will conduct the initial questioning, maybe in conjunction with a friendly allied force like the Jordanians, perhaps. She potentially, even if she herself wasn't involved in the leadership, is somebody who's at the home, seeing who's coming and going, knowing who the figures are, what their roles are in ISIS, where they perhaps live. So she could still have some value for us.
And as you look at how this raid was carried out, and you look at the decision matrix that the White House would have had to go through, is this something that President Obama would have had to authorize specifically and personally, or is this something that, say, he had said to the chairman and other folks, hey, if you think you can go get somebody, go get them?
No, I think absolutely the president was intimately involved in this decision. He finally gave the green light, the go order to make this happen. It is just such a diversion in direction for U.S. policy on the ground in Syria. The risks were so high. As you said, the consequences could have been devastating. We could have seen another Black Hawk Down in Somalia, another Marine One in what we saw in Iran. And
Desert One, yeah.
Would have been disastrous. So I think this had to be the president's call.
Well, stunning. Thankfully, all the special forces we know have returned safely. Obviously, they didn't get the guy they wanted to alive. They got him dead. We'll see what intelligence comes out of it. John Hanna, we appreciate your time, sir. Thanks for your insights.
Thanks, Lena.
Elizabeth?